Thank you so much, Patricia. Please start.
Thank you also. Thanks a lot for this invitation. Also, for Celia for reminding me to have this talk also. It's a very good opportunity to tell you what we have been doing in this education COSI. So I'm Patricia Palagi. I lead the ISCB training group in Switzerland, but I also co-lead the education COSI. And what I'm going to talk about is also a work done by Russell Schwartz from the Carnegie Mellon University, Annette McGrath, also from the CSIRO Australia, that we have been leading this education COSI together. But before we go on what we have done this year during the ISMB conference, I wanted to give a little word about what is the education, what is an education COSI, in fact. So education COSI stands for Education Community of Special Interest. You know, if you remember that in the ISCB, there are many communities of special interest, and education is one of them. And Terry mentioned that while she was talking, that this is one of the things that she achieved when she was also involved in ISCB. So what is the education COSI then? Is that it's a community for bioinformatics and computational biology education and training across the life science, very much similar to GOBET, and is another way of connecting people from ISCB, but not only, but also it's not only for members of the society of the ISCB, but for anyone else. So it was a way that we found also to connect representatives, people from the ISCB members, and also everyone else. ISCB, the education COSI, ISCB are also members of GOBLET. So there is a link between all those. And the major goals then of the education COSI is that we want to share bioinformatics education training resources and experiences, and facilitate the development of education programs, courses, curricula, and teaching tools and methods. So it's very much integrated in our sphere of training, education, and of worldwide. So our presence during the conference, ISMB ECCB conference this year, was in three axes, three areas. We have organized the tutorials, we have organized also an education track, and also participated in the web, as you have already seen from the talk from Melissa earlier on. So for the tutorials are the training side of the conference. So what we do is we open a call for tutorials. Tutorial meaning we have to have learning outcomes out of this. And we have a selection. So this year, the chairs of the tutorials were Annette, Michelle Brazas, there is in the call, and myself. So we launched the call at the end of last year, and we have received quite a lot of interest, because this year also it was again online, but it's maybe not only due to the fact that it was online, but we have received 34 proposals, and out of those we have selected 8 of them. And why we have selected only 8? Because they are mostly in parallel, and we want to have a good representation overview of tutorials instead of accepting all of them. Of course, many of those were very of good quality, but we wanted to keep them focused in a very short time. So that's why we needed selection. So these are the topics that we have selected this year. General is not they don't represent the names of the work, the tutorials. One was in tidy descriptomics, another one in immunogenomics, another one in meta-learning methods for medical data, metadata means, multiomics integration, deep learning, Nextflow, microbiomics, and data analysis for COVID. So very broad, any different types and different topics of bioinformatics of interest for the people attending the conference, the ISMB conference. The other thing also that we were involved in the education COSI was the education track. As Terry also said, we have Terry and many other people also involved in ISCB have managed to create an education track within the conference. So every year we have a mini conference of education within ISMB. So how this works, again, is like for any conference, we have a call for talks and posters, and we have a selection for some of them, and we decide for some there are going to be talks, and other there are going to be posters, of course. So this year we have received 17 abstracts and we have, out of those, we have selected 8 of them for a talk, and the others were posters. And we also had 3 to complement this. It was a 1 day and a half this year. And to complement this track in education, we also had invited 3 keynote speakers. So one of them is Allegra Via, that is on the call also, where she talked about teaching the Instagram generation, a lesson learned in the pandemic era. The other one was from Alejandro from the University of de Los Andes, Colombia, where he talked about establishing a graduate program in bioinformatics in Colombia. And the other one was from Wei Kit, that is also in the call, from Malaysia. She talked about the journey into bioinformatics and data science education training and outreach. So it's very interesting. It was had also, not only the talks were also very exciting and interesting, and the discussions were during this 1 day and a half were very, very interesting as well. And so this year, this was organized by Russell, Annette, and I, the education track. And last point, what we have done also was the web workshop for education bioinformatics. And Melissa has already given you a little feedback on what the outcomes of that. So this workshop is more on working groups, discussing challenges, discussing experiences that we had this year. The theme was making training materials fair. And it's very practical in the sense it is a group work. We discuss, we bring ideas, we bring solutions. So this year then it was organized by Melissa, Celia, and myself. So these were the 3 areas that we acted during the conference. And then for next year, the conference is going to be in person in Madison, Wisconsin, United States, but it will also be a component for the online for those that want to join from abroad. So save the dates, July 10 to 14 next year. And there will also be, again, as like the previous year, there will be a call again for tutorials also. So if you're interested in submitting a proposal, you're most welcome. There will be a call also for talks and posters for the education track as well. And we also need to figure out what we're going to do for the web, and if there are any themes, any topics that you would be interested in having as a web, just let me know, or let Michelle know, or anyone else. So if you are interested, join the Education COSI. There is a link so that we have a mailing list. We have an out-of-date website, but it's something that if you are interested, you can join us, and at least by joining the mailing list. And that's all for me. Thanks a lot.